Is the Shroud of Turin a direct witness to the resurrection of Christ? We must, however, recall what this holy shroud is: a strip of cloth 4 meters long, front and back, which apparently contained the body of a crucified person. Its negative imprint was discovered in positive by a photograph of Secondo Pia at the end of the 19th century. It had been deeply surprising because the photographic negative showed a complete human body, a man of 180 meters and a face of great nobility. The print has been studied at length by scientists. It seemed to have been produced by microburns upon the surface of the shroud, which is made of linen with a very fine weft of a weaving that appears quite similar to the weaving of fabrics from the time of Jesus. The light print is a superficial burn. There are also traces of blood clots corresponding to Jesus' wounds as told in the Bible. The crucified wrist appears to have been pierced by a nail, and the tongue is not apparent, crossed upon the chest. Precise anatomical details which seem to indicate that, as these have been verified by successive experiments, that a nail had not been inserted into the palm of the hands, but here rather indicating the wrist, and therefore the nerve had been deteriorated, that folded inwards both the thumbs. This shroud has withstood all the science except for one issue. At some point we wanted to carbon-14 date it, and we found a date from the Middle Age. This date was disputed because a piece of shroud had been taken outside where nuns had constantly ravaged it. Through other research, for example by a kind of L-shaped piercing present on the shroud, we realized that there was an iconography of this shroud dating from well before the Middle Age. It is true that for any archaeological fabric there would be sufficient evidence here to indicate that it was the shroud that covered Christ's body. However, if some scientists resist, it is because this is not just a new relic. The shroud resists everything. It seems to be unexplainable, and especially the way in which the print has occurred upon it, which still remains unexplained. It appears, in fact, as if there had been a powerful bolt of lightning, which, depending upon the distance from the face, had produced this image, and not made by human hands upon the shroud. It is surprising that the Catholic Church does not commit itself definitively by saying this is the true shroud of Christ. In fact, the Catholic Church will not rule for a simple reason, because the shroud, I believe, has been placed by God for science in order to resist it. So it's not the magisterium of the Church that deals with the doctrine of salvation, getting involved in something that must resist science until science at some point recognizes that there is definitely something here. For my part, I'm quite convinced that this is the authentic shroud, and there is no problem with it. But I also understand that people who do not wish to believe that Christ died and rose again, it is the case of Muslims, or that people who do not wish to believe that Christ is real, that he had been simply a prophet who died as a martyr at a certain moment of time, man, that these people resist because it opposes their lack of faith in Christ. As long as we are on earth, God does not wish to give unmistakable and definitive signs. There are, however, some. Consider, for example, of the Virgin of Guadalupe. This screen print on a poncho had been made of cactus leaves. This, at the 16th century screen print, remains inexplicable for this time and for the technology at the time, and yet the image of the Virgin is a good one. God could therefore give unmistakable signs, make great appearances from heaven. He does not wish to do so, however, for a simple reason, that while we are on earth, where He leaves us with our reasoning and for our own search for faith, as for the glory, it shall really explode into full light at the hour of death, and that is the second step. In the meantime, God's wisdom is to give enough signs for those who desire to believe, and for those who do not wish to believe these signs, they may reject them at the hour of the death. It will be with great humor that those who have spent years with peaks of intelligence inventing theories to deny the existence of God, when they see themselves alive before the risen Christ, He will not take revenge, because He has delivered all men to their own weaknesses in order to have mercy upon all, and we will have many other weaknesses.